Hi, this is Frank Taylor with Nature at Your Door, and I'm here on one of my favorite trails to see wildflowers. It's the Rock Castle Gorge Trail in the Rocky Knob Recreation Area off the Blue Ridge Parkway in Southwest Virginia. Walking up through this trail, I've seen bloodroot, star chickweed, Quaker ladies, red trillium, Dutchman's breeches, jack-in-the-pulpit, mayapple, many species of violets, and so many other wildflowers. Today's episode is going to be on wild ginger. If you don't know wild ginger, you could easily miss it and walk past a colony of these plants and never see the flowers. You have to get right down on ground level to see them. In this episode, I'll tell you how to recognize wild ginger, how to find its flowers seemingly hidden under the leaf litter, how indigenous peoples and early settlers used it for flavoring, candies, and some antibacterial properties this plant has as well. So stay tuned. Right here in your backyard, you never know what you're going to find. The scientific name of wild ginger is Asarum canadense. And what you want to look for to find it is these very distinctly heart-shaped leaves. They'll grow in a pair and have very hairy leaves and these very hairy or pubescent stems. When the flower is mature early in the spring, a single stem will rise up to produce this flower. To find the flower, you really have to get down at the ground level. And for several of these photos and video clips that I'm showing you, I had to gently tease apart and move aside this leaf litter and leaves that are actually covering them up. Like many of our native spring ephemeral wildflowers, wild ginger is found in very rich, moist woodlands. The flower is sometimes called the little brown jug because of its shape, lying next to the ground, like a jug lying on its side. The maroon bell-shaped flower has 3 sections to it, or 3 petals, that curve gently backwards. This flower has evolved and grows next to the ground, specifically to attract carrion beetles and carrion flies that would be attracted to its red, fleshy color. It seems to appeal to these flies as they arise from the forest floor in the spring looking for carrion to feed on. Some of them seem to take shelter inside the flower against the cold as well. Lying next to the ground, when wild ginger has successfully flowered and produced seeds, the seeds are there available for ants to carry away. This is by design. Each seed has a tiny elaiosome attached to it. An elaiosome is a packet of lipids and nutrition that's attractive to the ants. So the ants come to the flower, pick up the seed, take it back to their colony, remove the elaiosome and consume that, and discard the seed in a rich, loamy pile of detritus. So this coevolution between the flower and the ants leads to a successful transport of seeds to new environments and away from the parent plant. The name wild ginger does refer to the fact that it has a mild gingery flavor. It's not as strong as its Eurasian counterpart that makes up the bulk of our ginger spices. It was dug by both indigenous peoples and later European settlers for its value as a spice and a flavoring for food. A candy was once made by cutting up pieces of the root, boiling it in a sugar solution, and letting them dry. The syrup was also created by the same manner. The syrup could also be boiled down and crystallized into another form of ginger-flavored candy. Various indigenous people tribes use this for medicine as well. It was also widely reported that it was used on decaying meat to help preserve it so people wouldn't get sick from the bacterial growth. In fact, science today has revealed that there are 2 antibiotic compounds that have microbial preventive qualities to them. Wild ginger was also used as a poultice on wounds to help healing and prevent infection. And again, this was played out by current science by the discovery of antibiotic compounds in this plant. As a scientist, I don't recommend consumption of this plant today. It has several compounds in it that have been identified as potentially carcinogenic, and it also has several relatively toxic chemicals in it. So I would advise against the use of this plant today. I'm not a practicing forager, but I like presenting the history and uses and traditions and ethnobotany of every plant that I find. Well, thank you for watching this episode of Nature at Your Door. I love sharing with you about the wild plants and the ethnobotanical uses that they had in the past. If you like my channel, please subscribe, give me a like, and leave me a comment. I love hearing from my viewers, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching this episode of Nature at Your Door here on the Rock Castle Gorge Trail in Southwest Virginia.